And there you go. We're now on camera. Good evening, everybody. Welcome. My microphone's still falling down. Welcome to everybody who's joining me live right now. Massive shout out, as usual, to everybody listening on the Acts on This TV audio experience on iTunes or Stitcher. If you've still not subscribed to that, guys, get yourself over to iTunes, to the iTunes store. Subscribe for free. Just search for Act on This TV. All one word, and you will find it. Okay, so yeah, appreciate those listening on that. And also, if you're watching on YouTube on the replay as well, or on actsonthis.tv on the replay, massively appreciate you as well. I know there's a load of people who can't make it live, and I'm still super grateful that you do keep watching or keep listening to the replays, and that you're getting value from these. So thank you very, very much for that. So guys, tonight, it's Monday night. It's Motivation and Mind Hacks. For those who are joining for the first time, I do 2 Periscopes a week. One on a Monday night, which is now. One on a Wednesday night. We do a book club. Make sure you do join us for that as well. You need a Gordon the Gopher, says Carolina. Yeah, well, if anyone wants to volunteer to just pop up from here, just be funny every now and again. Get yourself along. Yeah, so put a video out this morning, guys, that talks all about caring too much about what other people think of you. All right, give me some yeses if you've seen it. I just want to know how many people on here have seen it. And if you haven't seen it yet, if you go to my Instagram profile, it's just at Act on This TV. You'll find it there as well. You can watch it. It's 1 minute long. It's something that I have loads of yeses. People saying absolutely. Awesome. Patrick, I've seen your question there. Save it till the end, buddy. We'll do some general Q&A at the end of this. That's great. So everyone's saying, yeah, they've seen the video. So yeah, so the video is a minute long. It's something that I've sort of tagged as 1 minute wisdom, all right? And I'm going to be producing a few of these things that are really just basic, really powerful takeaways from personal development and positive psychology that we've spoken about loads of times on these Periscopes. But I understand that sometimes, you know what, an hour-long Periscope can be a little bit overwhelming, and people, you know, might get bogged down a little bit and not fully take everything on board. So I'm distilling it down into 1 minute chunks that everybody can understand. Now, what I'm going to do, you know what? What am I talking about? I'm just going to play it to you. I should just play you the video. So those who haven't seen it, I'm just going to play it. It's dead simple. And if you're on the audio experience, just listen to it. I've got it here. I can just put it on for you guys. It's going to be miles easier, isn't it? Right, let me just cue this up. Here you go. It's here. Have a listen to this. 1 minute long. I'll be back in a sec.
I've had one too many emails, guys, from actors who are shit scared of putting themselves out there because of one thing, and that is what other people will think of them, all right? Whether that is their parents, their agent, a casting director, or even worse, what some complete stranger on the internet is going to think. Guys, this is infant school bullshit, all right? If you are going to let the anonymous opinion of someone else stop you from fulfilling your potential, you have unfortunately already lost, all right? What are you going to regret more when you are sat there at 92 years old, okay? That you gave it your all, you threw your hat into the ring and you didn't please everyone, or that you stood back, you kept your creativity hidden from the world, you did nothing with your talent, and by default you pleased no one because nobody even knew you existed, all right? Take this message, get out into the world, show them who you really are, because right now the only person stopping you from having success is yourself.
There you go. It's easier, isn't it, than just sending everyone to Instagram. I didn't even realise I could just put it on there for you. So the message is really simple, and it came about because I received an email just yesterday afternoon. I'd been out for my run, came home, checked my phone, and I had an email from another actor. And this has happened, this isn't just once. It's not the same actor, but I've had over the last 6 years of running Act on This. Honestly, guys, it must be in the hundreds now. Hundreds of actors email me, and they want me to either proofread a tweet and proofread an email. They've got an idea for a play or an idea for a new show or something they want to do online, a new initiative, an idea for a website for actors, all these things. And they're like, but I don't know if I can put this out there because what are people going to think of me? You know, is this all right to tweet this casting director this? Or is it all right to tweet this agent this? And I don't know if they're conscious, but what they don't understand is, 99% of the time they ask me to proofread it, it's fine anyway. And it's not going to offend anybody, you know, because just people don't do that. Unless you're writing, hey, you're a dickhead, I hate you. I don't think anyone's going to block you on Twitter for sending them a tweet going, here's my show reel, check it out, what do you think? But people don't realise that, you know, by not sending that tweet or not sending that email, the chances of anything happening with that casting director or that agent or whoever it is are practically zero anyway. So if you're going to not send it, then you might, that's almost the equivalent of sending something that's going to end up being blocked, because you're not going to get anything anyway. So it's pointless in having that fear. You just send it. And like I say, as long as it's something that's actually, nice and, something that's legitimate and something that, your intention is good, you're not going to have any issues. But there's so many people who are so petrified of what they think other people are going to think of them when they've sent this thing, that they'd never send that thing in the first place, which is the equivalent of sending something bad anyway. If you know what I mean. It's like, it's just pointless not sending something, because you end up with the same as if you'd sent something bad by just not sending it. So I want to kind of expand on this tonight. I'm going to put some slides up, and we're going to talk about the fear of other people's opinions, because it's something that cripples so many people, not just actors, just human beings in general. And I don't want anyone on here to carry on that way. Okay, so this is titled "Stop Caring What Others Think of You. Go do." All right, I just want people to take action, and a lot of people on here, you're taking action by being here in the first place, which is amazing. But we can always take more action. All right, I can see people taking screenshots of these slides as well, guys. Don't worry, if you go to actsonthis.tv tomorrow, when you watch the replay, you can download this entire PDF as a high quality PDF, so you'll get all of these slides for free anyway. I think having critical parents is where it stems from, says Caroline. That can absolutely be a part of it. I have a fear of calling casting directors when I know they are casting something that day, says Eloise. Hey Jen, how we doing? People need to stop, please. Stop putting other industry people on pedestals. I'm very fortunate and grateful to know some incredible casting directors through the work that I do for Acts on This, and they're all the nicest, soundest people on the planet. 99.9% of them anyway. I don't think I've really met a bad one, all right? Some are definitely more open to correspondence than others, but there's no casting directors that are just like, no, complete brick wall, I don't want to hear from any actors, because that's bullshit. It's their job to know about you. So you're doing them a favour by letting them know about you when it's relevant, and it's the right time to let them know about you. If you're sending a casting director a new show reel, or telling them you're going to be in something, or inviting them to a show, it's part and parcel of their job. They knew that. They went into it with their eyes open when they signed up, all right? Don't worry about contacting these people, okay? And I promise you, these people have all the same fears as you, because they're employed by the executive producers. The executive producers have the same fears as you, because they're employed by the channel directors and the commissioners. Everybody's got the same insecurities as you, all right? So we need to look at some strategies tonight that are going to help you to just stop caring about, what other people might, and I say that like very specifically, what they might think of you, all right? Before we get really stuck in, if you've not shared this scope, massively would appreciate you doing that. I've got some screenshots here. You just basically click the three dots in the bottom corner, and then you just select that you want to share the broadcast, and then you can whack it out on Twitter or Facebook, anything like that. Would massively appreciate you doing that, because the more people who get their eyes on this, the more people we're going to be able to impact positively tonight. And on the replay as well, because the replay still stays up on Twitter even once you've shared it. It doesn't disappear, so once you've shared it, it's out there for good. So thank you, Eloise. Thank you. Diana Bermudez is here in the house, a Bulletproof Actor alumni. Welcome. Thank you so much for tweeting, Carrie May, Jenny, Fletch, everyone is sharing it. Thank you so much. Massively appreciate you for that. So yeah, let's have a look. So I've got some slides here. I'm going to read them out. I say, look, I feel we are in the midst of an epidemic of what I call negative fortune telling, okay? Now, fortune telling is a positive psychology principle. It's a phenomenon which is basically where we think we can predict an outcome to a situation, all right? And most people predict a negative outcome. It's natural because we have something called a negativity bias built into our brains as human beings. So whenever we come up against fear, our natural reaction is to fortune tell and predict a negative outcome, all right? That's kind of our default place, all right? And I feel actors and human beings in general have never been more fearful of the opinions of industry folk. If you're an actor, and industry folk, this is what's so ironic. Industry folk you don't even know. It's what I was talking about before. By you not sending a tweet to someone you don't know anyway, then you're in the same position as if you sent them a tweet that just told them to F off, because you're still not going to get anything from that person. So send the tweet, not to F off. Send them a nice tweet. Okay, so people are worried about the opinions of industry folk they don't know, and then more sad, they're actually really petrified of the opinions of random people that they don't, I'm not talking about casting directors they're aware of or directors they're aware of or agents. These are just random people online who might not even be in the industry. All right, and trolls, people call them. Oh, what if I put this out and it upsets someone? Or what if I put this out and people don't like it? Who cares? All right, we need to care less about that. So I see actors stifling their creativity. They hide it from the world, okay, and they ultimately they cripple their own success. It's like you are choosing to be a failure by being fearful, okay, by not putting yourselves out there and your work out there as well, okay. If you are not utilizing, this is the kind of like what it comes down to. If you're not utilizing the greatest marketing platform on the planet, i.e. the internet, where we are now, how I can get my message to you, how you can watch me right now. If you are not embracing this, and you are in terms of consuming stuff because you're here, you're watching, but if you're not creating as well, please don't just be a consumer, all right? Create. Your actors, your creative people, or your writers. I know Gary's on here, he's a writer. Some people are filmmakers on here tonight. You've got to use the internet, all right, to push your life and career further, all right? If you're not doing that, you've already lost. Because as we go through time over the next few years, this is only going to get more and more crucial, all right? And you can argue all you want against this, but the market's attention, i.e. your audience's attention is now online, guys. And this is something that the major networks are having to realize as well. This is why Netflix has become so huge. Amazon Prime has become so huge. And this is why the BBC and ITV and other channels we have over in the UK are shitting their pants, because ultimately they don't have a monopoly anymore. It's just as easy for me and you to create our own material, put it online and get distribution. And you know what? It's actually easier for me and you to do this, because unlike the BBC and the ITV, we have nothing to lose. They have everything to lose, all right? So I want to ask you, why are you choosing, and you are choosing, this is a conscious choice, to allow the opinions of people you don't even know to stop you from living a full life and career? Just give me some hearts or some comments if you have felt this. If you have stopped yourself, putting yourself out there so far at one point in your career, this week, this month, in 2017, because you have been afraid of how it might be received by somebody else, whether that is someone in the industry or just someone you have no idea who they are. So all the hearts are coming through. Carolina says so much. I've been in positions a few years ago. You know what, guys? When I first started periscoping, I was in this position. Yes, I have, says Trisha as well. This is my 178th periscope, all right? Gary said it's a big issue for him. Fletch says it's for him as well. So yeah, I 178 periscopes ago was doing my first periscope, guys. Before I hit live that night, I was like, shitting my pants. What are people going to think of this? How do you use Periscope? What if people think I'm just like an idiot? No one likes me. But I just had to push through that fear and go, you know what, if there's one person watching, or remember that night there was 450 trolls on that Periscope, and when they found out I was an actor, it's hilarious. If I can find the replay, I'll point it out to you guys. I'll put it in the replay post on actsonthis.tv. Had 450 trolls on one night. When they found out I was an actor, I had things like, it was brilliant. They were quite tame trolls, but it's like, so what did you play? Did you play the wardrobe in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe? It was ridiculous. They were hilarious. But ultimately, you've got to go, I don't give a shit what these people say or do. If my intent is good and pure and I'm just trying to impact people positively, then people can judge me however they like, because I know I'm trying to do the right thing. So real talk right now, I've got on this slide, hashtag real talk. You must stop caring about the bullshit opinions of others before the industry will care about you. And that's just something that I feel is true. I visualize having an audience that loves me, says Trisha. Well, this is interesting, because we might be talking about this in a minute, Trisha. That's something that people can do to combat this negative fortune telling. I need to become solid, says Caroline. Right, well, we're going to give you some strategies, guys, that are just going to help you begin to combat this. Now, there's going to be a lot more than the three I'm talking about tonight, but these are three that I think you can start implementing quickly. Fletch says, I've realized a lot of the time is jealousy, and we need to rise above that. Absolutely. When you're solid, the bullshit won't affect you, says Caroline. So true. You know what, guys? When you become your biggest fucking fan, when you are like, I am my biggest fan, no one can touch you. No one can touch you. Because, you just, you infect people with that enthusiasm for what you're doing. It's what I try and do every single day. I'm like, you know what? I know my intent's pure. I can look in the mirror and go, you know what, Ross, you're doing everything you can every single day to impact people in a positive way. Thus, if people do judge me and they get me wrong, then, you know, I don't judge them back and go, right, I hate you. I'll either try and change that opinion, or I will actually just go, well, you know what, that's fine. You can have that opinion right now. Hopefully you're going to see more of my stuff, and then eventually your opinion is going to change. But I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to, you know, just let it happen. So strategy number 1 that I'm going to throw up on these slides here, okay? Number 1, and this sounds a bit twee and a bit basic, but it's so fucking true, guys, right? You've got to accept yourself for who you are. So Caroline said she had too many people chipping away at her confidence. Right, well, Caroline, you've got to look at yourself right now and go, you know what? I'm going to accept all of what I am, right? Trust me, the fastest way to fail is to constantly focus on what you are not, all right? So we all need, and this is, unfortunately, this is kind of fueled by the negative side of social media, which is kind of unattainable levels of wealth, beauty, success, all this kind of stuff people see on Instagram, and it's normally all bullshit. I promise you, and I said this before, those posts on Instagram you see where someone's laid out $50,000 on the bed, you know, they've gone to everyone in their family and their parents and said, guys, can I just get all of your money out of your bank? You know, they've withdrawn it, thrown it on the bed, took a picture and paid it back in. They don't have all that wealth, you know. It's bullshit. So many smoke and mirror kind of things happening on social media as well. So we need to quit wishing we were taller, we were better looking, we were smarter, richer, or any of the other nonsense that we can so easily obsess about. And instead, right, I want you to focus on your strengths, all right? What do you have to offer this world? I know, again, this sounds twee and basic, all right? But let's really look at it, because you'll hear this stuff a lot, but I don't think people really look at it and do it and actually I want you to make a list. I want you to write it out because it becomes real. What are your strengths? So Trisha wants to become thinner. And you know what? If you actually go, you know, this is actually a goal of mine and I want to become it, and I'm going to stop talking about it and start doing it, then that's fine, Trisha. If that is genuinely what you want to be, it's going to make you happier, do it. All right? You know, don't get completely obsessed and go the other way, you know, and end up with some kind of disorder. But if you actually go, you know what, I am going to be happier and more fulfilled if I lose 5 pounds, do it. You're going to be healthier maybe because of it. You know, that's absolutely fine, all right? But let's focus on our strengths, okay? What do you have to offer the world that no one else does, all right? If you've got a flair for improvisation, for example, Fanny Compton is on here tonight. Fanny, you've got a flair for improvisation. Pull out your phone, right? Launch the Facebook app and go live, right? I dare you. Go live on Periscope once we finish this Periscope tonight or tomorrow night. Let me know you're going to go live and I'll come and watch you and support you, all right? Will you please everyone? No, of course you won't, right? But by putting yourself out there, you are bound to please someone. So 99 people might not like what you've done, but I promise you one person will be on the same level as you, the same wavelength as you, and will appreciate what you have done. And you don't know who that might be, all right? And you don't know where that might lead. That might be the one person who's actually like, you know what, this is the person I've been looking for my project. And they could be really influential. But by you hiding and going, no, I absolutely don't dare to press live on Facebook or do an improvisation or post something in the Facebook group that we have at Act On This. If you're not a member, facebook.com/groups/Act On This TV, most supportive group I've ever known. Not just in the acting industry, just full stop. So proud of you all in that group, all right? But by not doing that and putting yourself out there, you are ultimately robbing yourself, guys, of unlimited opportunities. Because remember when we did that Periscope on social media in general, and we were saying actually when we add up the amount of eyeballs that could potentially see your work on social media, it literally is 5 billion, guys. Right? Now, I know it's unrealistic to go all 5 billion people on the planet, 80% of the planet are going to look at my stuff. But that's how many people are utilizing social media, all right? There's only like 7.2 or 3 or whatever billion people on the planet. 5 billion are using social media. So if you are not embracing it, you really are missing out on unlimited opportunities. So that is strategy number 1. We've got to just accept what we are. Stop focusing on our weaknesses as well, all right? Again, I've got a slide here, real talk. Winners focus on winning. Losers focus on winners. So all those losers who might send you those negative comments, I get it occasionally on YouTube or Twitter. I did an animation job. I did 72 episodes of an animation on Netflix. I was super proud of it. Getting lots of tweets of encouragement. People were like, this is great. You've done a really good job of this. I played this character who was like really cool character in it. A of course, I got some haters as well. You know, one guy hated the dub because we dubbed it from French into English. And he was like, oh, this is terrible. No thanks to you, at Ross A. Grant. And I'm like, you know, I just laugh at it, though. Because I'm like, I know I can't possibly please anybody. And only losers focus on those who are winning and try and bring those winners down. So if you're sat at home and you aren't winning right now and all you're doing is focusing on people who are, then you're kind of compounding your own fate, unfortunately. Be inspired by winners, but focus on winning yourself. Don't just focus on the fact that you might not be where you want to be right now, okay? People who take time to comment that stuff have bigger problems. They do. They really do. If people have... Seriously, guys, right? If someone is living with so much pain inside their head that the thought of me being happy and successful actually hurts them to a point where they have to try and bring me down, then I'm just going to give them that. I'm going to let them have that if it makes them feel better, because I would not trade places with those people. So please, if you ever get a negative comment, you know, laugh at it, retweet it, comment on it. You know, you just look at James Blunt and how he deals with negative comments, because that guy gets a lot, but he's hilarious with it. Spiteful personality disorders, keep away from them, says Caroline. I think the best way to deal with it is with humour, to be honest with you. But yeah, you know, like I say, winners focus on winning, so that's what we are going to do. Everyone here tonight, and if you're watching on the replay or listening on the audio experience, just start focusing purely on winning, all right? And like I say, focus on other winners to get inspiration, but don't focus on them to make yourself feel bad. J.K. Rowling's good with trolls as well, says Gary. Yes, she is. She really is. Particularly when it was Piers Morgan. She had a good little battle with him, which was cool. So that was point number 1, right? Accept what you are. And also focus on your strengths, okay? You don't, and I kind of like, you know, it's controversial when I say this, but I coach people on the Bulletproof Actor program. So Deanna, who's on here tonight, Gary, Simon Hibbs here as well. They've all been through Bulletproof Actor. It's a program I run twice a year. It's coming out again in June if you want to get on the waiting list, bulletproofactor.com. Good evening, Bobby. But we always focus on strengths. And I say, literally in like week 1, we are going to forget our weaknesses, all right? Because unless you want to make that weakness one of your strengths, it's pointless focusing on it. You know, so, you know, for me, like when I do voiceovers or accents and things like that, Welsh is never going to be a strength of mine. I don't want to get better at it because Caroline's here. She's Welsh. She can do a great job of a Welsh accent. I don't need to get better at it because I know it's going to take a lot of effort and there's probably always going to be someone better than me at that thing. So I'm going to focus on my strengths. And when you focus on your strengths, they become what I call core competencies. You get so well renowned and well known for those core competencies that you will always be employed for that thing because you'll be the go-to guy or girl for that particular thing that you're well known for. Don't focus on your weaknesses because, like we just said with the trolls, there's already a shit ton of people who will do that for you. So you focusing on them as well, it's a waste of your time. You focus on your strengths, let everyone else focus on your weaknesses because they're going to do that anyway, all right? Strategy number 2, we've got to deploy positive fortune telling. All right. So, Tricia, this goes back to what you said about visualization before. Okay. So, fortune telling, like I said before, it's a positive psychology phenomenon where we kind of predict, or we feel we can predict an outcome of any given situation. Most people predict negatively. When you deploy positive fortune telling, something fantastic happens. All right. It can work in your favor. Positive fortune telling or visualization, as Tricia rightly said before, has been proven time and time again to contribute greatly towards goal achievement, all right? So rather than predicting negative outcomes, we've got to visualize yourself succeeding. Visualize ourselves doing really well, all right? The more you can get used to expecting positive outcomes, this is so true in my own life. I've experienced this myself. When you can come to terms with the fact that life can go well, all right, and you can expect positive outcomes, the more positive outcomes you're going to have, I promise you, because you're going to see a lot more opportunity to get them. And you can see study after study after study. People know I love the science behind this. There has been like record-breaking athletes have harnessed the power of visualization to push the human body beyond its perceived limits. People like Roger Bannister, who run the 4-minute mile. He ran the 4-minute mile in like 1952, I think it was. He ran it in 3:59. No one thought it was possible before that. Okay, they just didn't even try and do it. He broke that. You know, he visualized himself doing that. He did it. The same year, 30 people did it because it suddenly became possible. All right, so visualization is powerful. Okay, and you've got no excuse. If people are using it to push literally the limits of human potential forward, you've got no excuse not to use it to put a showreel scene on Instagram. All right, what are you afraid of? And particularly on stuff like Instagram, guys, you can delete comments if you get a bad one anyway. That's different on Twitter. But please, don't get a showreel scene shot or have a new edit of your showreel done or a voice reel or an attempt at an improvisation, and don't just keep it on your hard drive. It's bullshit. Put it out to the world. Get eyes on it. Like I say, you're not going to please everybody, but you will please somebody, and that's the most important thing. So if an outcome doesn't go according to plan, and this is possible without a doubt, not everything I do goes to plan, just doesn't. I'm a human being. All right, try to learn from it though, instead of getting embarrassed about it. All right. I'm visualizing an act on this Chicago meetup, says Tony. We do need a meetup in Chicago, Tony. You are the man to make it happen, my man. Definitely, I'd be well up for that. Yeah, maybe I will come over for it, Tony. You get it set up. There'll be about 4 of us, but let's do it. So yeah, don't get embarrassed about it if it doesn't go according to plan, right? Write down, and I want you to do this. Let's not just talk about all these things, guys, and where we say, right, write down your strengths, write down this, and people go, oh yeah, that's a good idea, that would make me feel good, and then no one does it. Just do it, right? Just try it for once, okay? Write down what you would do differently next time, right? And that helps solidify what you have learned, okay? And remember, as long as you are learning, you are succeeding. That's another principle of Bulletproof Actor. There are no failures in life. As long as you are learning, you are succeeding, all right? And no one gets everything right 100% of the time, especially not on their first attempt either, all right? So just fall in love. I've highlighted it there in big letters, big red letters. Just fall in love with the process. Who thinks genuinely they are in love with the process right now? Who gets out of bed and actually enjoys the hustle, enjoys the grind, enjoys the auditions? It's very different. Enjoying it is very different to becoming addicted to the struggle. A lot of actors are like addicted to the struggle and they love moaning about it and whinging about the industry. It's very different. This is like, you know what? Rather than why me, like why not me? Let's do this. Dawn says I do. Awesome, Dawn. I used to be. I've lost my way a bit, says Caroline. Well, it's all right. Get back on track. Really get in there, says Mike. I love overcoming, says Trisha. It's because you're growing, guys. You're growing when you're overcoming obstacles in your life. Me, says Eloise, love it when I've been productive. It's addictive. Yeah, it is. I love the feeling of going to bed, and I will have this feeling after this Periscope, guys, because I feel I put a lot out into the world today. I got up this morning. I went to the gym at 6:45, got back. I've sat here since 10 o'clock this morning. It'll be 10 o'clock at night by the time I've finished. And I know I'm going to go to bed tonight with the tank empty. I'm going to be like, you know what? I've given everything I could give today, and it's such an amazing feeling. I love getting out there, says Fletch. It's like me when I vacuum the house, says Caroline. Yeah, Caroline loves a bit of vacuuming. It's a lovely feeling when you know you've been productive, all right? And it doesn't mean sometimes, I'll go to bed and I'll go, wow, you know what? Everything I did today, I sat there for 12 hours and everything went wrong. It's like, well, that had to happen anyway. That all had to go wrong for me to learn how to get it right tomorrow. It's just as productive when it all goes to shit. Love having a good day. Says Gary, and Dawn loves it as well. So yeah, fall in love with the process. Because you know what? If I gave it you all now, what would you have to work towards tomorrow anyway? If I gave you all an Oscar and a BAFTA, and I put you in a Hollywood film, and you got it all, fucking hell, I mean, what would we do? What would you have to work towards then? Fall in love with the process, guys. It's so much more important actually than the destination. Like genuinely. I know again that's twee and a bit of a cliche, but cliches are cliches for a reason because they're so true generally. Tricia wants one anyway. She'll be happy with one. Number 3, and this is critical. Okay, this is the third and final strategy just to look at tonight. Okay. Caroline says we wouldn't grow as people or grow emotionally. No, you wouldn't if you don't earn it. Then, well, if you don't earn it, guys, you don't deserve it. To be honest, we've got to stop second guessing. All right, and this is actually, it's not just critical, but this is where people are actually delusional. Okay, and I'm going to give you an example of this in a minute, but we need to try not to assume that everyone is judging every little thing that we do, all right? And this is, like, in reality, they're not. They're really not. That casting director who you send that tweet to or that email to, I promise you, 30, 40 seconds after they have seen it, they're not thinking about you anymore. That's harsh, but it's just true because they're so wrapped up in their own world that they don't have time to continuously focus on you, okay? You might hear something terrible that's happened, on the news. And you might go, oh my goodness, or you watch a video on the internet, you go, oh, that's so terrible, I feel dreadful about it, I'll share it and spread awareness. And then 10 minutes later, you've forgotten about it because you're so wrapped up in your own shit. That's life. That's just the reality of life. And it's the same for everybody, all right? So don't second guess that everyone is judging you every single step of the way and they're all waiting for you to fall and laugh at you, because they're not, okay? They're looking after themselves. So before getting lost in a cycle of self-doubt, I want you to remind yourself that anyone worth your time has more to worry about than criticizing your every thought and action. If there are people out there who are just waiting for you to fall and are ready to criticize your every thought and action, then they're just losers. They're fucking losers. Like, they're just losers, right? Ultimately, I'll say it again, they're just losers. They are displaying losing DNA. They are made up of shit DNA. They are just losers, right? So people who actually you would want to impress, I promise you, are not actually focused on you all the time. Okay, so you've got to do your best to notice when you start to overthink or second guess yourself, all right? And if you can become aware of when you are second guessing yourself, you can stop that cycle in its tracks and you go, no, Trisha, I'm just second guessing myself again. People aren't going to think this. There's nothing in this tweet that could possibly be offensive. No, Fanny, if you're posting an improvisation on the group, don't second guess yourself and go, right, that's it, 5,000 people are going to hate me. It's like a super supportive group. It's safe, okay? And there might be, there might be 3,000 who don't like what you do, but there's 2,000 there that might like what you do, and that's 2,000 lives you've impacted more than that person who never put anything out there. Tell yourself to shut up, says Trisha. Yeah, you've got to. Sometimes you've got to take yourself in hand, right? But catch yourself. Who thinks they overanalyze? Again, I've been guilty of this, absolutely guilty of this. And this could be in your personal life, it could be relationships, it could be overanalyzing your health, thinking, oh, I've got a twinge here. I'm definitely having a heart attack. Oh, now I've just brought on an anxiety attack that didn't have to happen. Me all the time, says Ant. Says Mike, sorry. Hipster, yeah, always, definitely, says Fletch. Me, without a doubt, says Carrie May. I definitely do, says Jen. Gina says yes as well. Again, but don't worry, guys, because you know what? When you overanalyze, your brain is working like it's designed to work, but it's working for a world that no longer exists. We don't need to overanalyze everything. So guilty of that, says Tony. You've got to catch yourself when you're doing that. And just realise, the delusional remark I wanted to make before was something a mentor of mine has taught me in business. Because you all know how passionate I am about Act on This and passionate about serving you guys and passionate about really building. I want to build the biggest platform for actors on the planet, guys, ultimately. I know it's probably 15, 20 years away, but I'm going to do it. But I'm delusional when I'm like, everybody should care about this as much as I do. I spend time putting a video out that I've worked on for 2 days and, it gets 10 likes. And I'm like, I don't understand. This is brilliant. I think it's amazing. And I'm completely delusional by thinking that you guys are going to care about it as much as I do. You're just not, because you didn't make it. You didn't put the hours in to do it. And that's the same in all of our work. In business, we care about our business more than anybody. You care about your career more than anybody else. So we need to come to terms with the fact we are delusional about, this overanalyzing that we do, in terms of not everybody is looking at us all the time, waiting for us to do something. Not everyone is going to be as enthusiastic about what we're doing, or not everybody is going to hate what we're doing. It's just kind of like, people just don't have the time to focus on you all the time. So just don't overanalyze the situations and be like, oh God, that person's definitely, as soon as I put this out, they're going to see it on Twitter and they're going to hate me. I don't feel bad at being delusional now, says Fanny. Don't. We're all completely, and I include myself in this, completely delusional when it comes to the things we care about, if we are thinking that other people are going to care about them as much. I'm delusional in a positive way. I tell myself I'm amazing. No, there's nothing wrong with that, Trish, and that's what we want you to do. But you just need to realize that not everybody else is going to be focusing on you as much as you are, and that includes me and everybody else on the planet. For 23 hours of the day, we focus on ourselves. We might focus on someone else for another hour, something like that, but we're all so wrapped up in our own world. That's just the way it is. So to think other people are going to care about our shit as much as we do is delusional. Don't stop caring, but just be aware that, and don't be disappointed if other people aren't quite as enthusiastic about it. So it comes down to this, guys, these last 3 slides, and this is what I said in the video. This is a bit of a transcript from the video, but what are you going to regret more when you are sat there hopefully we will get to 92 years old. My goal is to get to 100. But when you are sat there at 92 years old or whatever, what are you going to regret more, all right? Caroline says he appreciates all that I do. Thank you, Caroline. Appreciate you being here. Are you going to regret more that you gave it your all, that you threw your hat into the ring? I talk about that all the time. People are going to criticize you, and they're not, and for throwing your hat in the ring, and they haven't thrown their hat in the ring. Again, send them to me. You know what? Send them to me, because they're just fucking losers. And, I will deal with them. That's fine, right? But are you going to regret that you gave it your all, you threw your hat into the ring, you went for it, and you didn't please everyone? Or would you regret more that you stood back, you kept your creativity hidden from the world, you did nothing with your talent, and by default, you didn't please anybody because no one even knew you existed? The sad thing is, and this is like genuine, guys, right? 143,000 people didn't make it today. Right, 143,000 people did not wake up this morning who were here yesterday. A poor man I heard locally in Manchester, near where I live, had his car stolen on the middle of the night, Sunday morning, I think, 3 a.m. He went out to defend his car, and he was run over by the people who robbed it, and they killed him. He would give everything to have an opportunity to have another go at things, right? And life can be that short. He don't give a shit what someone thinks about on Twitter of him or something like that. He wouldn't care what somebody said about him online. He'd just be so grateful for his life that he was living and doing what he wanted to do. And I want you to have that appreciation without having to go through something so terrible as that, all right? And there's a lot of people, you know what? There's a lot of people who died as well yesterday, and there's no record that they ever existed. They've not left anything behind. They didn't write that book they wanted to write. They didn't write that script they wanted to write. They didn't write that TV show they wanted to write, or that song they wanted to sing, that musical. They didn't put themselves out there, and now they don't have that chance to ever put themselves out there again. Everyone on here tonight and those listening on the audio experience have that privilege, fucking privilege, right now. So don't let some bitter, twisted pile of shit on the internet trolling you, don't let that stop you from putting yourself out there. Or don't let the opinions or perceived opinions of someone in the industry, what they're going to think of you, don't let that stop you from putting yourself out there, because ultimately at the end of the day, it doesn't matter whether they like you or not. The simple reality is it doesn't matter. Okay, so I know which I would regret more. All right, I would regret more not putting myself out there and not pleasing anybody than putting myself out there, and displeasing a few people, but pleasing the majority. All right. So take this message, like I say in the video, get out into the world, show them who you really are. Because a lot of people on here, I feel I know you guys and I know what you do. And you're all great, and I'm massively grateful for you being here. But maybe there's a part of you that I don't know about. I didn't know Fanny could sing, and Fanny was putting some songs on like a few months ago. There'll be people on here. Mike, you're very funny. Do some comedy sketches, if that's what you want to do. That's it. Accord, says Simon. Thank you. Pleasure, man. Because right now, guys, honestly, the only person stopping you from having success is yourself. That's it. That's just like the harsh truth. It's just you. If you're not having the success you want, I promise you, you're holding back. You're not putting yourself out there. You're not making those calls. You're not sending those emails. You're not shooting that stuff or writing that stuff. You're just playing it safe because you're afraid of what people might think of you, and you're afraid of being ridiculed by people you don't even know who mean nothing to you at all. So I want to end on this quote by someone called Cynthia Kersey. She's an American author. And she says this, guys. She says, believe in yourself, and there will come a day when others will have no choice but to believe with you. And I'm a massive believer in that myself. I'm like, you know what? I set out on this journey to create this website as part of my acting career 6 years ago. No one at that time, everyone was critical. Everybody was very skeptical. People thought that there was any acting site or whatever that pops up in the industry is a rip-off. They were all like, oh, who's this guy? He's after our money, all this kind of bullshit. I believed in myself and was like, you know what? I don't care what your comments are right now. I'm going to build something because I believe in myself, and I'm going to build it to a point where you will have no choice but to believe in it with me. And that's kind of what's happened, you know. And now I have BAFTA winners, Emmy-nominated casting directors on the website, you know, household names, the biggest casting directors out there, who at the time, back 6 years ago, wouldn't have touched me with a barge pole. They'd have been like, no chance am I coming on your website. You've got no track record. You know, who are you? Never heard of you. But I just had to believe. And it's the same in my acting career. You know, it's nowhere near where I want it to be. But I just had to believe, and I'm still believing. And it's the same for presenting. It was the same for my voiceover career. It's the same for what I'm trying to build via the internet and social media. It's the same for Bulletproof Actor when I started coaching people on positive psychology, because I'd implemented it into my own life for 10 years, but I still had that imposter syndrome when I launched it 2 years ago, thinking, what are people going to think of me? Is this course going to be, you know, what I think it's going to be? Massively grateful to all you guys on here who have done it, because you proved to me that it was far bigger than I ever thought it could be, and it had more impact than I ever thought it could have. But I just had to believe and hope that you guys would believe with me, and that's what you've done. So I appreciate you all for being here. And yeah, who's gonna get out there tomorrow? Or Tony in Chicago, you've still got time today. Who's gonna get out there and actually, like, you know, start putting themselves out more and start not caring as much about what other people think? Thanks for being so honest, says Gina. Pleasure, thank you. Thanks, Trisha. Yeah, what are you gonna do? What you gonna do? Because I want to see as well. Tag me in any stuff you're putting out as well. If you need a bit of support and you're like, I just need someone to retweet this once, because then it's going to make me feel like at least someone's listening. Include me in it. Include at Acts on This TV or at Ross A. Grant. I will retweet it on the Acts on This account. It's got nearly 16,000 followers. So you've got 16,000 potential sets of eyes on it, and I'll do that for you. But don't hold yourself back and like go, oh, I can't do this because what if people don't like it? I'll like it. Whether you like it or not, I'll just like it. It's fine. But yeah, let's just, you know, and it's great collaboratively together. We can support each other. I would love to a retweet. I think Fanny just sent a bold email to a casting director who's cast a new series. Amazing. Whoever said that. Going to a workshop to meet some agents later tonight. Tony, fantastic. Awesome. Loads of comments popped up there, so I couldn't read them all at once. But that's wicked. Yeah, let's start being bold. Because, you know, hiding away never got anybody anywhere. I don't know a single person, and I include myself in this as well, any success I've had, I don't know a single person who hasn't at some point been a little bit reckless and a little bit bold and asked the world and the community and whoever they know for what they want. And I've said this on so many Periscopes. How many times have we said this, guys? The world will pay any price you ask of it. So what are you asking for? The harsh reality is, most people don't ask for very much. You know, I gave you that example, didn't I? You know, the homeless person who asked for 20 pence. If he'd have asked me for £1, I'd have given him £1. All he asked for was 20p. So I went to my pockets, pulled some change out. I had a 20 pence piece. There you go, mate. If he'd have said, mate, have you got a spare £1? He could have had that. He wasn't asking the world for enough. You know, and I like to support homeless and charities and stuff. That, you know, I do all that kind of stuff. It wasn't being stingy going, here's only 20p. That's just all he asked for. I thought that's all he wanted. But yeah, he could have asked for more and he'd have got it. I promise you, in your life, you could be asking for more right now and you would get it, but you're just not asking. Helen says, my album was released online just this evening. Pretty scary, but so proud to have put it out there. Wow. Amazing. Tweet it. Tweet at on this. Let's get Helen's album out there. That's awesome. I'd love to create an album, but I need like 6 double vodka Red Bulls before I get on the karaoke. I don't drink anymore. I've not drank in about 5 years, so my singing days are probably long gone, Helen. That's great. Helen says, Dawn. Yeah, amazing. That's absolutely fantastic. So yeah, definitely let us know about that. Anything anybody's doing, just let us know about it, and then we can all support each other, which is great. And so for those who are just joining for the first time, or you're seeing this on the replay, you can join me next time on Periscope. Like I said, we do this Mondays and Wednesday nights. Mondays, which is tonight, we do something. This is classed as motivation and mind hacks, what we're doing tonight, which is motivation and ultimately hacking our minds and our psychologies and our mindsets to get further faster. On a Wednesday, we do the book club. We're looking for, I think the last week on Brendan Bashard's book. I think it is. Brendan Bashard's book, The Motivation Manifesto, a fantastic book. We are looking at that on Wednesday night, another chapter in that. It's a brilliant book. that helps you ultimately reclaim your personal power. Okay, it's kind of like, it's all, we've looked a lot of in this book about fear and how that cripples people. We looked a lot about taking action. I don't know what we're going to look at on Wednesday. I've not read the chapter yet, but I'll keep you posted. And like I say, yeah, follow me on Periscope, Instagram, Twitter. It's at Act on This TV on every social media platform. If you ever want to get in touch, at Act on This TV. I'll reply literally personally to every single tweet, message, anything, because I run it all on my own, basically. I don't have the luxury of having anybody else to run my social media channels. So if you know you get a reply, it's from me. So yeah, do let me know what you're doing. So got like a couple of minutes. What time is it? Yeah, okay. So we've got like 7 minutes if you want for any Q&A, general Q&A. Doesn't even have to be on what we talked about tonight. Anyone got any questions on anything that I can help them with that you think I might be able to help you with? Let me know. We've got the London meetup on Saturday. Would love to see some faces. So Jen Hannah, amazing, has used her initiative. She wasn't fearful. She didn't care about other people's opinions. Jen set up the London meetup. Okay, now if you go into the Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/Act on This TV, you'll see a little events tab, and you should see the London meetup and the Manchester meetup. And the London meetup happens on the last... it's the last Saturday of every month, Jen, isn't it? And then I run the Manchester meetup on the first Saturday of every month. I'm out of London again, says Helen. Keep looking out for it. So the last Saturday of every month, we do the London Act on This meetup. On the first Saturday of every month, we do the Manchester meetup. The Manchester one is at Home Theatre in Manchester and near Deansgate train station. Jen, just leave a comment for us now. I can never remember where the London one is. It's the Riverside Cafe somewhere in it or something like that. Hopefully in a couple of months I might be able to head over to the UK for a meet-up, says Bobby. Awesome to see you, Bobby. Tony, get yourself over to the UK at some point as well, man. Or we'll have to do some kind of trip to Chicago at some point. It would be amazing to make it happen. It would also be amazing for you guys to just do a Chicago meet-up without us, print a picture of the Acts on This logo, take it, and tweet me it. It would literally just make my year to go, we've gone global, we've gone international. That would be awesome. Yeah, Riverside Cafe in the Royal Festival Hall on South Bank is where Jen has her meet-up. Riverside Cafe, Royal Festival Hall on South Bank. Live Skype meet-up. We could do a Skype meet-up. For those who are doing Bulletproof Actor, like I said, that comes out in June. Awesome course. Loads of people in here have done it. It's basically, it's called Unstoppable Confidence, Infinite Success. It's a 5-week, basically it's like a science-backed positive psychology program that literally breaks down your entire belief system and builds it back up so you literally are bulletproof. It's 10 years of positive psychology study I've implemented into my own life that I broke down into a 5-week course. We actually do, Gary says 5-hour calls. So we actually do group conference calls on there with video and audio. And we do literally like Skype. It's not on Skype, it's on a different platform called Zoom. But we do literally get on there for 5 weeks. And then once a week, we jump on a call for 5 hours. Some of them weren't they? We were getting on at 7 o'clock and getting off at 1 a.m. Crazy, but incredible fun. And we made massive, massive impact on the people who came through it. Massively proud of what they've achieved since. 5 hours, Caroline, literally, some of our calls were... You get super one-to-one. It's a really supportive group where people bare their souls effectively. And we all get to know each other on super, super personal level. Ultimately, to bulletproof your psychology. So a lot of it goes back into experiences you've had in the past, because your psychology and belief system today, whether it's fueled by limiting beliefs or empowering beliefs, is absolutely constructed from previous experiences. And there's some people on there who had some seriously negative past experiences. So sometimes it can get quite deep and emotional, but we get everybody through it and to a point where people are bulletproof. And they're like, right, I'm going to own this shit. This is no longer going to rule me. I am going to rule it. I'm going to take full accountability, responsibility for this, and this is going to empower me, not limit me anymore. Gary just asked about the calls. So, anyone who took part in the second intake, which was that happened last December, didn't it? You will get a chance to just come on for a refresher on just the live calls. You'll get a special offer on that. You'll get that via email. I'll send you that out in June, close to the time when we take in the new intake. Those who have never been on it and you want to get involved, go to bulletproofactor.com, leave your name and email address on the form there, and you'll get an invite early, like 1 day early. to the program because there's a limited number of VIP places on there. So if you want to get in first, go and leave your details there right now, and I'll make sure you get an invite before anybody else. So you divulge details of your life in front of everybody else. You definitely do, Fanny. Absolutely. Tony says, have you ever considered hiring a virtual assistant? I know a Chicago guy who's decent. Tony, man, I might take you up on that because you could technically work through the night when I'm sleeping. So that would be great. I could wake up and you'd have already done some work for me. Genuinely though, like, drop me an email, ross@actsonthis.tv. And yeah, let me know. There might be something that you could help me with, Tony. Yeah, definitely. That would be cool. Appreciate the help. So yeah, ultimately, guys, that's it for tonight. Yeah, get out, quit being afraid, do shit you love, be completely unapologetically you. Stop worrying about what other people will think of you, what other people might judge you or say about you. No one gives a shit. Why should you care? Ultimately, you've got. It's that juxta. How do you say that word? It's that word anyway. It's like a balance between, for me, I've said this before, I care so much about what people think of me in terms of, I want all you guys to know that I am genuine, I'm authentic. Juxtaposition, that's the one. It's that juxtaposition of really caring what people think, but equally at the same time, not giving a flying beep about what people think about you. I'm like, you know what? I want everyone to love me, but I'm equally okay with those people who don't like me. And I know there's people in this industry who won't like what I do. They won't like this. Inspired to call a casting director tomorrow. She's casting something that's bang on for me. Amazing. Is that Eloise? Good on you. You do that. There will be people in this industry, I promise you, I've heard whispers of it anyway, because they feel I'm empowering people who shouldn't be empowered. They're like, no, and these are people who want to hoard success for themselves. They're like, no, you know what? I'm being successful, so don't empower anybody else to be successful because they feel like that's threatening their success, even though that's bullshit because we know there is an infinite amount of success out there. But I know there's people who won't like the thought of other people being empowered. I once heard, be as proud as a rock star, yet humble as a homeless person, says Tony. Success hoarders, so many of them, says Fanny. They don't get it, though. They just don't get it. I've had so much more success in my life and career by helping other people have success in their lives and career. And people who don't even try to do that will never experience it, and I think we'll always have a limited amount of success. Absolutely, you will get. I can't remember who it was who said it. It might have been Jim Rohn, but he said, listen, you will get everything you want out of your life and more by helping other people get what they want out of their lives and more. And that's never been truer since I've had that mentality and that kind of mindset over the last few years. It's so rewarding. This is amazing, isn't it? Look at what we've produced. We get online, us lot, twice a week. It feels like a little family. We get new people coming in all the time that we welcome in. And we ultimately are just like a massive force for good. We're making positivity louder, which is so important because the world is just trying to drown us in negativity right now. And it's not even, half of it's just bullshit, like not even real negativity. The bank tells you there's going to be a credit crunch and suddenly we produce this, this kind of fear. And everybody suddenly starts feeling the pinch. Even if the bank hadn't said anything, then we'd all just be fine. It's kind of like a lot of manufactured negativity almost to kind of manipulate you and make you feel a certain way. So we are making positivity louder, which I want us to continue to do because I think it's so, so important. The world needs more of that. And we're going to be doing that on Wednesday. Like I say, with this book, it looks like a Bible, but it's not a Bible. It's a fantastic book. It looks super serious, but it's not. It's got a really cool message and it's an easy read. The Motivation Manifesto, get it if you want to read along. If you don't want to get it and you hate reading, don't worry because I'm going to read it to you. So join me 9 p.m. Wednesday night for that. And just thanks for being here. Massively appreciate it. Anybody else? 30 seconds. Anyone else got anything to say? Good night and have a fab week. Thanks, Ross, says Gina. You too, Gina. Thanks for showing up tonight. Anybody else? Any parting comments before we call it a night? And you lot on the audio experience, tweet me. Let me know you're listening. I want to know where you're listening from. Audiobook version is good too, says Carrie May. Awesome. Never heard it. But Brendan Machard, great personality. So imagine if he's reading the book, he'll do a great job of it. He's very enthusiastic. Cheers, Gary. Appreciate you, mate. Thanks for being on here. But yeah, go forth and just do shit, guys, without worrying about whether people are going to like it or not, because that's the only way you are going to win. All right. Thank you, Carrie May. Let the hat throwing begin, she says. Absolutely. Cheers, Sam. Cheers for being here, man. Yeah, get your hats off your head. Throw them into the ring, all right? Don't care if people are going to judge you. I'll like all your shit. Don't worry about it. At least you got one like or one retweet. I will do it. Go forth and create, says Jen. Thanks, says Hipster. Thanks, as always, says Fanny. Thank you. Sayonara from Ireland, says Bobby. Awesome, man. Thank you all once again. Wherever you're watching this, replay or live, appreciate you all, and I'll see you Wednesday night for a little bit more. Bye for now.